story for today is a cracking story, and it has been buzzing online right from the time the press release was actually given out, and people are wondering what is Nigeria becoming. We had a lot of activists, we had a lot of politicians, we had a lot of social content creators naturally reacting to that news, because people are like, what are we gonna do? It's like every now and then, the country wants us to keep bleeding. Well, you'll be wondering what that is. Well, this is only just about the mandatory tax identification number that will be starting from January 1st, 2026. Which everybody has to have. Well, starting from January 1st, 2026, a tax identification number will be mandatory for all Nigerians and non-residents to open or operate a bank account in Nigeria. This requirement is part of the newly enacted Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, signed into law by President Bola Tinubu. Whoever came up with the idea of TIN for residents and citizens home and abroad is very okay. Well, this is a comment. Well, someone is actually saying a whole lot of things, but it is a lot of people are saying it is wrong, asking for tax ID from ordinary citizens or residents before they can open a bank account or keep a bank account. And whereas a country that already has an NIN, it is the doubt that why do we now need a tax ID? Why do we need a tax ID when we have our NIN to be able to operate a bank account or open a bank account? So the federal government of Nigeria, or whoever is in charge, a lot of Nigerians are calling that they do the needful. But I'm going to ask you first, Matthew, do you think, I do not know, and we know why the tax ID is coming up, which that is to say there's going to be a 20%, which a lot of Nigerians are coming up to say 20% tax? Why not just suck our bloods? That's what they say. So what do you think about this?
Once again, thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sir.
I think it all started when the government, talking about federal government, initiated the issue of tax reform bills. And as we have it, though before it was passed into law, they were back and forth. But currently, it has been passed into law and the president has assented to it. I think it's secret to that the government is now projecting when the law will kick off from January next year. So the question is, the conversation around whether the payment, the tax is right or wrong, or the amount Nigerians will be made to pay, should have been better discussed at the level of that bill. But unfortunately, Nigerians are not always connected. They always stand aloof in most of all these issues. I can remember the time they were talking about the tax reform bills. It's about 4 different bills. We had the issue of the North standing against area the Feds was against their interest.
True.
So the point I'm trying to make here is the area the youths, Nigerians, like you mentioned, content creators, feel is offensive to them. That is the time they would have come up to object to it.
Yes.
Because there was an opportunity of public hearing. But unfortunately, Nigerians, like I said, always stand aloof. They didn't avail themselves of that opportunity to go there and argue it out. Currently, it's already in law. There's nothing anybody can do about it. What the government is mainly doing is to implement a law that's already in existence. So the best anyone could do at this point is to agitate for a review of the law, because it's already law. Now, looking at, for me, there's nothing wrong in people paying tax.
Of course.
But the problem is, in this part of the world, the government often do not justify the money they get in terms of how it is being spent. Because currently the government is borrowing so much, and we are not getting much answer as to how the money is being expended. The oil revenue is there. So for me, for the government to be justified to come and ask citizens to pay, because the whole essence of the tax identification number is to ensure that people do not evade tax. I'm not canvassing that people should evade tax anyway. But the point is, are we saying that the money that is being generated through other means, that the government is making good use of it? You understand that even the same law that I'm quoting empowers Federal Inland Revenue Service, whatever name it goes by currently, to retain about 4% of whatever they generate. And though that will exclude revenue from oil and all of that. But a quick check, like 2024, shows that Nigeria got about 15.9 trillion from non-oil revenue through Federal Net Revenue Service. And if you are looking at 4% of that, you are looking at about 600 billion. So you see that there are so many areas that ask some questions.
Yeah.
So you want to tell me that the agency will spend as much as 600 billion annually? For me, that would be too much. So, but generally speaking, if Nigerians are not satisfied with the current status quo, the best option is to agitate for a review.
Yeah.
Because currently is a law.
Currently is a law, and that's the point. That, like you said, a lot of social content creator came out to actually, talk about this. But I think what they did was more of the social media talks.
But the point is,
there
was an opportunity for everybody to engage.
Exactly.
If you see what happened, personally, I do, because I speak on this even in the past. The North were not, they didn't waste time. They quickly identified the areas
immediately,
was not they were not comfortable with. Even as we have party affiliation, even within APC, we have some APC governors who vehemently opposed some areas because they felt it was going to deplete their own revenue base. I can remember the governor of Zamfara State, Babagana Zulum, was a major opposition to the sharing formula proposal in the initial bill.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they were able to use their number in National Assembly to water it down before the president assented to it. The point I'm trying to make is there's so much process, engagement that you need to go through before you get to the point where it becomes a law. Because currently, Mr. President already assented to it.
Yeah.
You may criticize it, but it's already a law.
It's already a law.
So the best it can do now is to start agitating for review. And that does not take a day.
Yeah. But my question is, shouldn't the national identification number, which we already have, the NIN, also serve as a tax ID for citizens? We already have the NIN. So shouldn't that serve the same purpose for this one?
I think the government know what they want to achieve. The whole essence is to ensure that people do not evade tax.
Yeah.
The BVN you are talking about, right?
NIN.
Oh, sorry, NIN. No, what they are saying is, it's not everyone that have NIN that is operating bank accounts.
Really?
This one is strictly to ensure that people do not evade tax. Because the essence is, if you operate bank accounts and you have the tax identification number, the government will know every inflow of cash into your account. Even if you say you earn some money that is not taxable, you'll be able to explain to the authorities why it's not taxable. But to say you earn money and you are not declaring it would be a thing of the past.
But do you think that's what they should be focusing on right now? Because what I'm looking at, I'm trying to speak and ask questions from the angle of the people, because yes, we need a tax ID, it's very important. But saying operating a bank account, because I think what we need majorly was the NIN, which a lot of people have done now. Because if you don't have NIN, your SIM card is not working, and you can't even open a bank account, which is VVN and Body NIN.
Which I'm coming.
Okay.
You can force it. But hence it's already a law. There's little or nothing anybody can do about it. Let me tell you something. You have a constituency. You are from a senatorial district. There's somebody representing you in the House of Rep. You have a representative in terms of a senator. So it means you already had an input during the time the bill was at the Hallowed Chamber. So anything we do here is afterthought. It's afterthought because if you call it damage, the damage has been done. That is why I think this is a lesson for Nigerians.
Yeah.
That when there is a bill before National Assembly, when they call for public hearing, that people should avail themselves that opportunity to look at the nitty-gritty, what is contained in that bill. So any area you feel you are not comfortable, that is offensive to you, you quickly reach out to your senator or your House of Rep member to say, no, this does not sit well with us and we are not supporting it.
Yeah.
Just like I want to tell you that before those Mr. President assented to that bill, before National Assembly eventually passed that bill, did not make sure that every area they were not comfortable with was expunged.
Okay. Well,
so the same thing,
yeah,
those who are commenting now could have done. But unfortunately, they didn't do it.
Well, like you said, it's a law. It has been passed into law. So it's a law now. We must have a tax ID if you want to open a bank account or you want to keep operating your bank account. Anyway, on that note, let's quickly go for a commercial break and we'll be right back, of course, to introduce our Zoom guest to just hear a little bit of what he has to say as regards the mandatory tax ID. We'll be right back. Yes, That's the commercial break. But let's have our Zoom guest join us on the screen. So I introduce him properly, then hear his view. Oh, comrade, good afternoon, sir. It's good to have you.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm apology for joining you late.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's unusual. I have some other, official engagement to contend with, so I just have to rush in, to answer to call of duty. Thank you so very much. I'm very, very.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for joining. So we're talking about the mandatory tax ID, and of course, Nigerians are complaining that we have the NIN. Why is it stopping us from opening a bank account, operating our usual bank account? And aside from that, we've had Matthew in the studio here talk about the fact that it's already a law, and this should have been done. The complaint should have been done not just by uploading videos on social media complaining about it, but they should have actually, they should have gone for a public hearing. But right now, the only cause of action they can take to maybe, review this is to probably ask for a review. And I think that's the way to go. But we would like to hear from you also what you think about the mandatory tax ID.
You see, okay, thank you. Even though your time is fast spent on these issues, I'm very, very sorry that this present government have been making a lot of serious policies, serious laws, without really thinking about, the concerns of an average Nigerian. You see, I've always been saying it that government is all about the welfare of the people. This government is only using every policies, to make money, and to develop. I don't know, the commensurate development is nothing to write home about. In the history of this country, this is the only government that has overtaxed Nigerians. It's not something one can do in a day. Even though majority of Nigerians are not tax compliant, but at least they must do it in a gradual process, in a phase, because as they say, Rome was not built in a day. So this regime now, we introduced, during Jonathan's regime, they introduced BVN, data NIN, and now you are coming with tax identification number. You get it now. Are you now telling me that an average Nigerian that does not even make up to 1,000 naira in a day, and at least is patronizing some of these fintech organizations for its banking services and everything, you've now been imposing him or her to go and get, the tax ID. And averagely, in Lagos State alone, for you, the least, direct assessment tax you can pay as a petty trader is 10,100 naira. And somebody who is not even making, there are some traders that their take home in a month is not even up to 10,100 naira. And you understand? So now you are forcing them that they must get, to get a tax identification number forcefully, before they can open a bank account. Eventually, people will pull out of the banking system. So banking will no longer be encouraged. Some people will start, gone are the days when people start saving monies at home. So there are a lot of negative, impact of this, tax ID, thing, so to say, for business and business owners. Because one, it has a lot of negative, impact which I want to analyze, briefly. It will increase cost, actually increase the cost of compliance. New fees will be introduced, certifications, and a lot of bureaucracy, with setting. So we should be mindful of the fact that it's going to lead to risk of job losses, risk of job losses in business, in small businesses, and, these small businesses cannot even meet, this requirement, as I earlier said. Yes, they cannot meet it. You get it now. So there's going to be a potential, it's going to cause a potential for corruption, bribery, if enforcement is not transparent, and it could stiffen innovation. Yes, this new tax thing, introduction will stiffen innovation if requirements are too rigid. And I'm telling you, the requirement is so rigid. You get it now. So from my own analysis, what I believe is why regulation is important, federal government must also, avoid policies that overburden citizens and small businesses. These policies are overburdening. citizens are overburdened with all these policies every day. We have not moved out of one, we are introducing another one. One have not been put into full enforcement or full implementation. Other ones are still coming. Why the rush? Why the rush? The government is so much in the haste. So, and you know one thing about Nigerians fear good policies. Nigerians fear good policies. Good policies fail at execution stage. You get it now? Yes, we fear good policies because it fails at execution stage due to what? Due to corruption, selective enforcement, or poor planning. That is it. That is just the major issue. So at the level of the civil societies, I will call on civil societies, business associations, and labor unions. They should engage federal government to fine-tune, the requirements before mass implementation. It should not be implemented now. These organizations, these labor unions, civil society, should engage government, in order to, fine-tune, the whole requirement before it is eventually implemented. So there are so many other negative impacts. And I also encourage let me just say, I want to encourage government, to subsidize, or waive, fees for small business operators. Yes, they should just subsidize or waive those fees for small business operators because they are in the majority. They form a very larger part of our informal sector. So they should just try and waive it, or they should not make it an all-encompassing, that's something that you cut across the board. It's going to have a very, very untold economic effect or economic defect on our citizens, and even the government will not get it right. Because when the citizens cry, and it will affect cost of living, and before you know it, everybody will start increasing their commodities, increasing their trades, increasing their cost of services and all the rest of it. And what we get? Inflation, that will be so uncontrollable. So as I said, the masses, what I'm so much concerned about, they should waive it, because you don't present somebody who is just into petty tradings. You are expecting him or her to come and be paying even 10,000 naira, as I said, because 10,100 is the minimum, direct assessment tax, and you are expecting such a person to come and be, doing filing, VAT and all the rest of that.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Comrade, for your analysis. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your analysis. According to what Mr. Matthew already said, this has already been it has already been concluded. So the least we can do right now is to wait for a review or plead for a review.